All right, guys, today we're going to be discussing your appraisal, and this is for you as a buyer, what to expect. Now, an appraisal at this point in time is like $500-600, maybe $700, depending on the house and the lender you're going with. But ultimately, an appraisal is where the bank goes out and they says, hey, you're getting a loan on this house, so we're going to do an appraisal. It's required because if you don't pay your bill, we want to make sure we get our money back if we got to sell this property. That's literally what it is. Now, they do some additional things. They'll go and check for safety issues on certain loan types like chipping, peeling paint, exposed wirings, things like that. You have to be able to live there, and a stove is considered making a home inhabitable. The most common thing I see that makes it uninhabitable if somebody pulled it out for some reason or it's broken. But ultimately, that's what an appraisal is. Now, what does that mean? What do I do? When do I pay for that? Typically, you can pay it on day one, but typically you pay for it after your inspection period and you negotiate everything with the Benzer, that's a whole nother video. Should have watched that one already if you didn't. But ultimately, when it comes to the appraisal, this is where we're gonna find out if the house is worth, per the bank, what you're paying for the property. As the buyer, you're gonna be able to find out the exact amount that the house appraised for because you're paying for it. So you may walk into equity, so to speak, but ultimately you're not gonna pay that higher price because you already agreed on a certain number with the seller. Now, the other option is if it comes in low. If it comes in low, well, you're not good to go. We're gonna say, hey, seller, your house isn't worth what you're asking for, because the bank says it's not. And depending on the appraisal that you get, that appraisal is gonna stay on that house for about 90 days. And nobody can buy the house for more than that price for that particular loan type. They can say, hey, we don't want FHA, we're gonna go conventional, something like that. But ultimately, it gives you weight and credence for them to drop that price to what you want. Now, if it's too big of a gap, sometimes they just can't sell. Sometimes they just have to, hey, I got to live here another couple years until I can pay off this mortgage and the value goes up. It just may not be a good fit. But ultimately, if you're my client, you're looking at this, we've already looked at the comps before we wrote the offer and all that stuff. But ultimately, when it comes down to it is, you can come up if you wanted to. Say it's just a smoking hot deal, it's next to your mom or something like that. You wanted to just live there and it's just perfect. It has a more intrinsic value to you. You can definitely pay more for the property. We're gonna do everything we can to get the seller to come down, rearrange some things and renegotiate. That's really what it comes down to. We're renegotiating the deal at that point in the appraisal. Now, worst case scenario, seller doesn't drop the price, you're not coming up because it's just not worth it. Well, what happens is you can cancel, you get all of your earnest deposits back. You don't have to worry about it. The money you would not get back is the money you paid for the appraisal because you paid the bank for a service. And if you did an inspection during that time, you've also paid for a service. Those are the two things you would not get back, but you would receive your earnest deposit in its entirety once you cancel because of the low appraisal. So if you have any particular questions, I'm your agent. Just give me a call. I love talking about this stuff. Talk to you soon. Peace.